Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will learn next set of text functions, and those are len, trim and clean functions. All three functions are very simple to understand, but they play very important role in cleaning up your data. So let's get started. First function is len and it has only one mandatory argument. Let's try to break it down. The function name len just means to find the length of input text string. And that's what goes as an input to text argument. One important point to remember here is this function also counts all spaces and special characters. Second function is trim and it has the same argument, that is text. This function is named as trim because it is used to trim off extra spaces from the input text, and that's the only argument we have for this function. When we say it trims off extra spaces, those are basically leading and trailing spaces in the input text, and it also removes double spaces between the words and retains only single space as a standard format. The last function is clean, and even this function has same argument, that is text. This function is basically used to clean up the input text by removing non-printable characters. Obviously, text argument takes the input text, and non-printable characters can be line breaks, new line characters, and any similar unwanted characters within the text. Finally, we are done with the basics. Let's jump back to Excel and see some examples. So we are back into Excel and we will see very simple examples to understand these functions. Let's start with len function. At first, let's find the number of characters in word apple. Let's add the function. Then select cell B3 as input to text argument, close the parenthesis and hit enter to get the output as 5, as Apple World has 5 letters. Similarly, let's drag this function below and Excel picks up cell B4 as input and we get output as 8 while we have only 7 letters. The important point to remember here is len function counts the number of characters in the text, not the letters. Since a space is also a character in Excel, and that's why we get the output as 8. Hope it is clear. Next, let's go to trim function, and the sample input text is same as before but with minor change. First, let's try to find the number of characters in both of these text using len function, and we see the values are not same as before, and that's because this time Apple World has leading and trailing spaces. And in text red ball, we have 2 spaces in the middle. Now let's give this cell F3 as input to trim function first, close the parenthesis and hit enter. Now we get the same output as before, and that's because trim function removes leading and trailing spaces. Similarly, let's drag this function to next cell, and here also we get the same output as before, as trim function removes the extra spaces between the words and retains only one single space. Lastly, let's see clean function, and this time our input text has few non-printable characters and line breaks. Let's add clean function, then select cell B11 as input, close the parenthesis and hit enter to remove the non-printable characters. Let's drag this formula to next cell and it removes the line breaks as well. After going through these examples, we may feel these functions are useless and let's ignore them. But honestly, these are very important functions. To quote an example, all lookup functions will not be able to match the values if there are any spaces or non-printable characters within the lookup value. In such cases, these functions play very important role in cleaning the input text and in turn providing it as an input to lookup value within the lookup function itself. Hope it makes sense, and that's what I wanted to cover in this video.